with you, did you ever feel like you were overcompensating in the changing of your look or the way you would speak about Black people? And if so, where did you find level ground where this is just me?
So that took a long time, but I will say, that it became most evident to me at USC, and understanding that I did not know about colorism, that just was not part of my experience. And so because I couldn't identify initially with what that historically meant, I was really struggling with why the other Black female students were having such an issue with me. So I'd walk into a room and I'd watch one of them, grab their boyfriend's hand as if that I was coming somehow for him. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't understand that.
The colorism and I guess we would say jealousy, or maybe the marking of the territory more so with women. How about the treatment that you received from men?
Absolutely with women. And I think that in college is when I started developing the majority of my male friends. And I've been blessed throughout my life to have a tremendous number of truly good friends. And sort of categorizing them between males and females, what I knew and understood at that point in my life, it was much easier to be friends with other men and male students at that time, just because there was not that sort of complexity of this competition for mm-hmm. which that I did not sign up for. Like I wasn't there to compete with anybody. What I thought was like it was going to be the sort of kumbaya fest, like, oh, come, welcome, we've been waiting for you. Mm. And that wasn't the experience that I had. And so it was just easier to be friends with guys. They just didn't have that issue.
Are you a fan of shows like Mixes, Blackish?
So I'm not a big TV fan.
Okay.
Just in general. However, of course, I've watched the many episodes, and I mean, it's funny.
Well, in the midst of it, the comedic value of it, there's a lot of telling of walking on two lines. Yep. How much of that can you relate to as far as like the social awkwardness of like saying finding your group, the initial culture shock that everyone experiences just as a college student versus you actually having a culture shock of race and being away from home and reestablishing yourself as a young adult, dancing, fashion, hair, makeup, shades of different makeup that you have to compare yourself to the next person. Can you tell a little bit about that?
So I can talk about hair experience. So growing up with a white mother, I had bad hair years. There weren't bad hair days. There were years. And she had no clue. But my mother grew up in Detroit, Michigan. She just could not admit she had a Black daughter because she knew there were Black hair salons that she could have taken me to. But then that would have then revealed something she wasn't willing to have a conversation with.
That's so deep.
About. So I
suffered.
Honey, it was awful. So when I got to USC, they have those sort of weekends that you go to have the new student experience before you actually get there.
Right.
So 6 months before I'm on campus, I go and have one of those weekend experiences, and I am paired up with another Black female who actually comes and finds me, thank God. And she says, "Oh, honey," when she looks at my hair. And I was like, what? And I thought I looked so stinking cute, and I did not. So in between that weekend and actually arriving on campus that fall, I had gone to a Black hair salon. Very first time, I'm 19, Very first time I'm in a black hair salon, and I think this woman, she's going to hook me up. What she does is put a relaxer on my hair. I don't know that should not be a thing.
Yeah.
And I am cute for about 3 weeks.
Okay.
And then all my hair starts falling out.
Now, did she do it because that's the type of hair, the way she's been doing other people's hair, or did she do it out of spite?
Spite, so I'm going to give her grace, and I'm going to say spite, no.
Okay, so it wasn't
money.
malicious.
Yes, she was money motivated. If I had just gone in there for a press and a style, that would have cost me around $30 that time.
Okay.
At that point, it was $100, and I remember this because I had to save up my little money. I was serving at a restaurant, so I was a Mexican restaurant, so I was schlepping tacos to get this $178.
Okay.
So I took my $178 happily to this woman and handed her over cash, like uncrumpled ones. Like, I'm excited. And I walked out, and I was cute. And I thought, don't tell anybody. All right, so I thought, nobody tells us, mixed chicks, nobody tells us that, sweetie, just because she straightened your hair, it's going to stay straight. So wait for it. I go, so 3 weeks, I show up at USC's campus. I'm gorgeous. There's a pool party because it's August.
Okay.
I don't write about this in the book. It's a little painful. So I jump in. I'm a good swimmer. I jump in. Like, we're good. What comes out of that pool is not what entered that pool.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was mortified. I was absolutely mortified, and I did not like why it. And it, when it curled up, it didn't curl the same.
Yeah.
It did not, because there were chemicals, and it was a hot mess. So this is when I'm 19. Fast forward, I now have 3 kids. I'm 31. I'm working in LA, and in this sort of place that has like warehouses that are right next to it. And I'm walking to my car, and all I remember is this sister pulling up in this white Jeep, and she was just so full of life, and it's just this, and the music's blasting, and she rolls up, and she literally passes, stops, puts it in reverse, comes back to me, stops the Jeep in front of me, gets out, walks around to the trunk area, pulls out 2 bottles, comes back around and says, please, for the love of God, use these products. It's the founder of Mixed Chicks. And
Whoa.
I was like, and I'm just looking at these bottles, and she said, it will change your life. And she sped off like some angel in the hair world.
Moment.
It was such a movie moment.
That's so funny.
So I have been using products ever since that are for my hair.
When did you notice a difference of positive engagement with the Black women? Was it during college or after?
It was my very first best friend in college was a Black female. Absolutely adored her. She was the reason that I had a safe space at USC.
Okay.
But she was a senior when I was entering.
Oh, so couldn't win.
Yeah. So she finished her senior year, and then she left the next year. And it was an amazing time, and I will be forever grateful to her. And it was from that moment, fast forward a few years to now, I'm married, and we have our first child. And that's when I truly develop true friendships that to this day, now 28 years later, that we are still friends. And I have an entire community of Black women who have been over almost 3 decades now, probably the single most influential part of my life as I was getting older and learning things and trying to sort of unlearn some bad habits, negative self-talk, and really just embracing who I was.
Can you elaborate on those?
Yeah, so